Anyway, so for those of you who are just tuning in, if you want the link to part 1, you're going to have to private message me because I'm just keeping that part private to friends. Oh my god, you can see my chickenpox scar. Oh, that's so funny. It seemed a little more prominent than it used to be. Fun part of aging. So yeah, those are just some of my, political thoughts. And long story short, to my non-American friends, I'm sorry. Sorry for the way my country is. Future generations, I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't this way. I wish I had an answer, and I don't. Well, I have some, but nothing realistic. Actually thought about running for office a few times. I think I've mentioned this before. I would just never get elected because of the way our society is structured. So, anyway, I'm sorry. For the first time ever, I am almost glad that my children did not live. Because I can't imagine handing this to another generation. I mean, I'm going to, but just not my own, And for those playing the home game, you might have noticed I said children, not child, not just Jamie. So a little personal update, and those of you who saw my last private video know I lost another child a couple months ago, which was hard, but I was not nearly as far along as I was with Jamie. With Jamie, I was into my second trimester. And of course, the situation being what it was, I was alone, and it was secret. Nobody could know. And I buried him alone, and it was a very traumatic experience. With this one, with my little girl, whose name is Lorian. As I said, I was not as far along. I was still in the first trimester. Hadn't even told the dad yet. But I could have in this case. So that's something else I've been keeping pretty private for a while now, and maybe a few of you know, but I think most people probably don't, that there is a Mr. Lady Vianne in the picture. Not married, but been seeing each other for a couple years. And in the last 8 months, things just shifted. They just changed. We went from, very casual to not casual. And he's a really wonderful, special person. And he's very good to me, very kind, very introverted, very slow with things, but very talented and handsome and smart. A Scorpio, which I always said I would never date a Scorpio. Don't care for them as a general rule. In fact, almost didn't go out with him when I saw his star sign, which I know some of you are going to make fun of me about, but whatever. Yeah, Scorpios as a general rule are a no-go for me in any capacity, but yeah, he's been amazing. I don't want to say too much about him because, again, the stalker is still a problem. Hopefully resolving, from what my investigator tells me. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood right here, but hopefully that chapter will be coming to a close here soon. I won't say why, but I talked to my lawyer, and they still come to my house. The stalker, they still show up here. I was out one morning. My sister came to visit. She hadn't been out here before. Never thought she would, actually. That's a whole story for another day, but she did. She surprised me and said, "Hey, I want to come visit." And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So she came out for a short visit, and I wasn't home. So my car was gone, and it probably looked like nobody was here. And she tells me, I came home, and she's like, hey, do you know what kind of car blank drives? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Why? And she goes, well, what is it? And I said, it's blank. And she's like, okay, that wasn't it then. I was like, why? What? And she goes, oh, well, there was a blank kind of car pulled up blocking your driveway. Sam I Am was going off like crazy, and I opened the door to show him that, it was good and nobody was here. And I thought I saw the car blocking your driveway, and then I heard the car door slam, like blank had been out of the car, and then I saw blank get into the car. And my sister and I have a complicated relationship for a lot of reasons. It's not something she would go out of her way to make up. I believe my sister, so, and then the next week, or 2 weeks later, again, see the stalker in my neighborhood. And you would think that would be a slam dunk, but it's not, because, it's not illegal to drive down a street. It's not illegal to be at a rally. It's not illegal to do this, and this. So I don't know. If you want to talk about psychosis. And I talk to my therapist, and I talk to, my friends and stuff, and they're like, they try and figure out the reasoning, and I'm like, you can't rationalize that kind of crazy. You can't. So I don't know. But hopefully from the intel I'm getting from the investigator, situations are arising that are going to put an end to it, and then we can all move on at long last. And wouldn't that be nice? And Mr. Lady Van, he knows all about it. You get scared to talk about certain things. You don't want to run people off. But if I sit down with him, he knows the whole situation. And, another reason I want to not talk about him too much. I don't want crazy people to find out where he works and then go after him or make his life difficult in an effort to hurt me. So I have to protect him that way. But he knows, and he's not running. He knows about my severe depression. We can sit down and, over a glass of wine, I have a couple of times talked about being in the hospital and what that's like, and, living with suicidal depression. As I've said before, my first attempt was when I was 7 years old. He's not running from that. He's not running because of the baby. Although that was a surprise for both of us. We're both over 40, it's like, oh, wow, okay. So, taking extra precautions there. So, but, I was also assaulted in April, and he was out of town, and I called him the next morning. He was a couple hours away, and I was out, and he said, oh, I'm 3 hours out. I'll get there as soon as I can. And I got home. It had been less than 2 hours since I spoke to him. I got home, I got in the shower, and when I came out of the shower, he was here. He was on my couch. Okay, let's go to the police. So he might be slow about, saying certain 3-letter sentences and moving in together and stuff like that, but he's been really amazing. And it's interesting because I've only had a handful of relationships. My high school girlfriend, I still dream about her. 20-something years later. I was so in love with her, I couldn't see straight. Literally couldn't see straight. And then there was Brian, because nobody told 19-year-old severely traumatized me that it was a bad idea to date your philosophy professor. What a piece of shit he was. And then there was David and Kit and Nicole, who I adored, and Kit. I was so in love with Kit. I remember the first time I met him, I knew I was in love with him right then. And, asshole, who I felt the electric shock with the first time we shook hands, the one we don't talk about anymore. And you know, with all these handful of people that I've loved, I still have love for all of them, even though some of them were abusive. The only one I don't have any love for at all was the philosophy professor, because fuck that guy. He did a number on me. He did some really horrible stuff. But, you know, one time Kit almost broke my arm because I caught him cheating on me. And I had his cheating partner on the phone, and he almost broke my arm trying to get the phone away from me. And I still have love in my heart for him. I know that he and the other fuckface and David and Maria and, you know, I have a tendency to like broken people, I think. And the current Mr. Lady Van is not a broken person. He comes from a good home. His parents are still married. They're nice, normal, functional people. Everybody gets along. There's no... I went for a holiday and there was no... It was quiet. It was quiet. And it was so surreal to me, coming from the background I come from. And he's going to meet my family in a while. We're gonna go, and he's gonna meet my family, and he makes me very happy. I don't see him enough because, unfortunately, we keep very different schedules. But you know, he is putting in the effort to make that work, and he's just been fantastic through everything. But it does make me think, you know, because I still dream about these other people. And I still think about them, and I see things that remind me of them, and I wonder how they're doing, and every once in a while I wish I could talk to them. And it makes me think about my dissertation, which was actually the reason I was making this whole video, is I wanted to tell some of you about my dissertation proposal, because I don't think I ever have, and I think some of you would find it interesting. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I will finally shut up. Okay.